We continue the Christmas season and enter into the week of the Epiphany, the manifestation, the revealing of who this Jesus Christ is. And today we read in this Isaiah that Jesus Christ is truly the Messiah. But we go deeper into the Gospel of Luke and we discover something more beautiful, that God sent his love into the world, whose love is unconditional. It has no limits to that love. And what does love do? That love has an effect in us, and that love is Jesus Christ. But look at what the gospel says about that love. It's supposed to bring glad tidings to the poor. It's supposed to set captives free. Free from what? What is Jesus bringing love to free us from what? From vices, from all the angers and frustrations, the wounds, brokenness within our hearts. But he does something else. He brings sight to the blind. He let the oppressed go free. So love does do something in our hearts. So that's a very important thing to recognize and be aware of, that Christ is doing something. We invite Jesus into our heart. He manifests himself in our hearts in the form of love. That's very important because it pins back to the first reading today, the first letter of St. John. And it's very clear. It says, I love God, but hates his brother. He is a liar. There's some truth to that. See, when God's love dwells in our hearts, it provokes us. It inspires us to say, Lord, I'm not going to hold on to grudges, anger, frustration, difficulties of life, the storms that may be brewing in my heart at this very moment. Your love is so great because it has no limits. It invokes something within me, deep within me, to say, yes, I'm going to trust you, Lord, because your love is that powerful. And St. John is very careful to point that out, said that if we know that we love God and that God loves us, and that's the first cause that we have to, or first thing we have to be aware of, the first knowledge is that God loves us first. So if you don't recognize God's love first, then what's the point? Our love is finite. But being aware that God loves us first, what an amazing awareness that God, whose love is unconditional, has no limits whatsoever. His love is that powerful, dwelling within me. It's so effective within me. It should convey a desire not to hold on to anything deep within us. And that's the beauty of God's love. And John points that out over and over again, that whoever loves the Father loves also the one begotten by him. Love asks of us to let go of grudges, bitterness, anger, things that are holding us back, things that are holding us captives, oppressing us from living out truly our identity fully, to the fullness of who he made us in his image and his likeness. So today, as we continue the celebration of this liturgy, let's ask God for an increase in love in our hearts. Not our own finite love, but the love that originates in God. The more we ask for that love, God dwells in us. And knowing that God's love dwells in us, it invites us to forgive, to let go of the hurts, to trust God in those difficult moments. May God give us that grace today.